Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of The Practice. This show is an unrehearsed look into my creative process. I'm Stuart. I'm a 3D artist, illustrator, designer, and your pal, and I'm excited and appreciative to have everyone back for episode 199 this week, creeping ever closer to that 200 mark. We'll have a little bit of news to announce next week when we hit that 200 episode milestone. So really excited to have everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I got a little sketch here. See if you can see that. Try and hold it up to the camera. Didn't feel like taking a photo and uploading it. Just gonna have it on my desk in front of me here today. Excited about this one. I think it could be a lot of fun. So let's just dive right in. I'm gonna start with a landscape here. I like to sometimes with these landscapes just invert the sea level and plateau levels, which tends to give you a more rounded, bubbly result. I'm going to turn the polygon count down a little bit on that. Say 50. Just turn that down a little bit. The idea here is we're gonna create a fun little creature that is sort of embedded in the landscape. And actually, this default guy gives us a really great start. So hello to everyone. What's on everyone's mind? How are y'all doing today? Oops. Let's get a different seed going on here. What I want to do is, it's going to be sort of similar to an episode I did a couple weeks back. I don't know if anyone remembers Fungus Gal. I think that was episode 196, perhaps. But what we did is we had this really simple humanoid character, and we added all kinds of fun like mushrooms and fungi and little plants to it. This is going to be sort of similar to that, and that I'm just really going to lean into the texture and the feel of everything. So I'm going to establish kind of a simple landscape here. Whoops. Add a camera. Get ourselves in position. Add a protection tag so I'm not moving that all around. And physical sky. That's how I roll. It's maybe a little bit early for lighting, but since I have a really good idea of what I want to do here, I'm not afraid of it. Let's see, let's go with like an evening kind of approach, little like golden hour sunset kind of action. See what that gets us. It needs to be a little bit earlier. Whoa. Look at that. It was early morning. What I want to do is evening. There we go, something like that. What's up, Tedzar? I'm going to be making this creature. I don't know if you can see that sketch. Basically, just a simple kind of face, little focal point in the landscape here. I'm going to do that using these sculpting tools. I just made a copy of the existing landscape there. And I'm going to pull up a section I'm going to use for the face area in particular. That's going to allow me kind of sculpt exactly what I want. Sometimes the procedural stuff is really great. In fact, I love using a lot of the procedural tools and the built-in primitives that cinema has to offer. But a lot of times when we're doing character work and things like that, it's helpful to take more control of those items in particular. And so that's what I'm going to do. Use the best of both worlds kind of a deal. Cool. All right. Now, one thing is, it's kind of annoying that this happens by default, but I'm going to turn it off. This physical sky, I'm going to go into basics and nope, I'm going to go into details and turn off this location HUD. That green thing is sort of annoying to look at. This is AO. All right. I think I want to raise this dude up even a little further. What I'll probably wind up doing soon is adding a subdivision surface to this. I do really want a nice smooth shape. We go ahead and do that now. Smooth that dude out. And then what's cool, since I have that landscape, I can just use the sculpt tools to pull little bits and pieces of it up. Create some interest in a composition here, some layering, some stuff like that. By the way, how's the audio sound? I've been working on the audio settings here. I know it's probably not great. I don't have any like acoustic paneling in this room. I want to make sure my voice isn't cutting out though. All right, so I think I want this face to be sort of subtle, right? Like not super obvious. And I want the composition to work without knowing that it's a character. I want that to sort of be a little surprise that people could discover. Great. Let's subdivide that one more time. And I'm gonna get in. Maybe start sculpting this dude a little bit more. Where's everyone watching from today? I'm always interested where the viewership comes from. Edzar, are you from Turkey, if I remember that correctly? Sorry if I'm not accurate in that. Toronto, Canada represent. Hello to you in the Philippines. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Are you guys all Cinema 4D users or 3D folks? Bali, Indonesia. I was way off. Sorry about that. There's another viewer from Turkey that I remember somehow. Sorry for the confusion. India. All right. Well, hello to you all today. All right, so everything's pretty well shaded in there. Why don't I do this? C4D beginner. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you can pick up a thing or two. I should say that I'm going to turn the intensity up on this sun here, or the sky rather, in the sun. And I'm just going to throw everything into a group so I can texture it all at once, just to make things a little bit more viewable here. Also going to turn on ambient occlusion. I should say, apologies to the beginners. This isn't like a, you know, I don't view this as a tutorial for beginners. I'm not going to explain every little thing that I do. This is really just a no holds barred look into my creative process. That's sort of how I view it. I think there's still plenty for beginners to learn. I would say if this is, you know, if you've only used Cinema 4D a handful of times, then your time is probably better spent like literally Googling Cinema 4D for beginners and learning all about the interface and modeling and how to do really basic things. If you're somewhat new beginner, like, you know, if you've been using it for, let's say, a few months or a year or so, And I think there's a lot of value in watching experienced artists work in cinema. You just see the way that they tackle things. And cinema is such a complex and wonderful program. There's usually more than one way to accomplish something, more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. And that part is all useful. Right. Beginner, intermediate. Okay. What kind of course did you take? Was it an online course? Just having a bit of iced coffee here, pardon me. Right, so now with this character, I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna handle the mouth. Let's sculpt a little thing. Maybe what I'll do. I don't want to make this whole big landscape high density mesh just because it's huge and it's going to really bog the rendering and the front of the machine down. Like, look at the size of this thing. In fact, I probably have way too much going on there. In fact, I might even. Here, just some of this stuff. Not really going to be seeing any of this. Don't need all this extra mesh. The hills do indeed have eyes. See there. Cool. Just cleaning some of this stuff up. Well, maybe not cleaning it up. Let's say simplifying. Probably a better way to put it. Ah, School of Motion. How did you find that? I've seen a lot of people say a lot of positive things about School of Motion. Did you find it useful? Nice. Glad to hear it. I have, when I was first starting out, I tuned into Grayscale Gorilla videos quite a bit. I think they're super useful for beginners. A lot of good stuff to learn there. Ultimately, though, the type of work that they're creating didn't really align sort of with my creative vision. They do a lot of really kind of fancy high-end renderings. Honestly, the other thing is they have a lot of great free information, but a lot of their information, a lot of their tutorials are geared towards sort of selling you their light kits and their textured packs and their models and stuff like that, which is great. You know, more power to them. But I like doing character design. I like doing sort of low polygon or like simplified stuff. It's not always for me about the fanciest rendering techniques. It's more about creating wacky compositions and creating work that has a little bit of personality. I don't know if I always succeed in that effort, but no, here we are. So I'm going to grab another bit of this, and this is going to be really kind of wonky modeling here. The topology is going to be a little bit messy, but I'm going to go for it. Wow, that's cool to hear, Tedzar. Thanks for the comment. I mean, you don't want to do every days that look the same as every. That's precisely it, Giles. I don't want to do, I don't want to use World Machine and Shiny Spheres to just make a bunch of, you know, Instagram friendly 3D renderings. Stuff just really gets boring to me. I think, you know, Beeple is amazing, and I'm not questioning Beeple's artistic credibility. I think he's great. I think he's doing what he wants to do. But I see so many people on Instagram and elsewhere just really kind of copying his aesthetic, which is not what I'm interested in. I've been making art for a lot longer than I've been using 3D modeling software, and I'd like to think that the stuff that I create is more of an extension of my pre-existing artistic sort of interest or my voice, to use kind of a wanky artistic term, my artistic voice. But you know, that's just sort of a little bit of insight into what I want to make. I think, you know, regards to Blender, I think that's great. I mean, in some ways, I wish that I had learned Blender because, you know, it's free and open source. And so, you know, you don't have to pay for upgrades all the time. Cinema is an amazing program. I think in some ways probably has a leg up over Blender, but man, you just can't beat Blender's price point. Now, you know what? Unfortunately, I'm not loving this mouth just yet. So I'm just gonna hit shift, hold shift with this tool. I'm just gonna smooth that out and try a different technique. Yeah, it is amazing to see how far Blender's come. When I first started to try to learn 3D, I started with Blender, and that was, you know, 10 years ago or so. And I really struggled with the UI. Maybe I should have stuck with it a little longer. But yeah, Eevee, their rendering engine, seems really powerful. A lot of their sculpting tools are you know, better than Cinema's, frankly. Just in terms of like the dynamic meshing. Really wish we had dynamic meshing in Cinema. Things like this. You can see how awful the topology is here. You really don't want to be going like perpendicular to the flow of the polygons. You want to be going with them. All right. I might change the technique here. Just use a sweep or something like that. But I do want them to be sort of organic feeling. And I'm not trying to go with a perfectly smooth mouth here. Still not loving it though. What I'm going to do Draw a spline in here. Where is that spline? Thanks, Goofier Sword. I appreciate that. Have you ever tried working with toy companies before, the vinyl ones? I haven't. I would love to. That sounds really fun. Haven't done that yet, though. All right, let's see. Let's sleep this dude. All right, and I'm just going to use this sweep inside a Boolean with the subdivision surface. Just kind of carve that away. I have a good question, Giles. I did actually, when 3D printing first really came onto the scene, I was super into it and spent a whole bunch of money getting a bunch of my stuff printed. If you go onto my website, actually, there's a few sections. I've got a couple of projects there. You can actually click on projects. You can sort by different keywords. And if you sort by 3D printing, you'll see there's a few projects in there. Yes, so I have played with 3D printing and really had a lot of fun with it. In fact, behind me on the shelves, there's a whole bunch of little 3D prints that I've made. Fun stuff. All right. There's our little guy. Fairly wonky, but I want him to be a little bit kind of imperfect here. Supposed to be sort of like a swampy blob creature. So I'm good with this for now. All right. Now what I want to do is let's add more details. Let's add lots more details. I want to start one of my favorite things in the world, which are these capsules. What's up, Vedant? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Start mixing in a little bit of color variation here. Eventually I'm going to add some global illumination, which is really going to fill in some of this shadowed area to a great degree. Not quite there yet. Oops. Whoops. There we go. I think I want this character to look a little bit dopey. Adding these droopy eyelids certainly helps. Might even have them sort of asymmetrical, which is kind of funny. I'm going to extrude those up, give them a little bit of depth. There we go. Looks kind of drunk. Drunk on swamp fumes, I'm sure. All right. So I'm going to pop into a new file real quick. Make sort of a flowery creation. Little pom-pom kind of deal. Whoa there, too big, I think. What I'm going to do, just to keep it a little more flexible, is instead of copying and pasting this dude directly, I am going to create an instance. That way if I apply materials or modify this at all, I can just go there. I just do it once. In fact, I think I will add some texture. Kind of a greenish stem. Go with a nice yellow top. I'm an orange yellow. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some GI at this point. And turn the settings down just a little bit. You can see the lighting all of a sudden gets a lot nicer. Now I'm going to add a noise mask inside this materials reflectance channel. It's just going to break up some of the specular highlights we get. You can see how that sort of breaks up the surface of those things. Cool. Added that to the wrong material. Turn it on. There we go. There we go. Just starting to build up some texture and some interest. That's a cool thing, Tedzar. I'm not sure if I know of that character in particular. It's something I will have to check out. Maybe one day I'll make it on the practice. There are tons of different sort of aesthetics from Southeast Asia that are really inspiring. One episode of the practice, I modeled this Thai, I believe it was from Thailand, this really amazing mask. Thai had these really cool sort of traditional demon masks that I was just blown away by, and had to take a shot at modeling one. I wonder if there's any similarities there. Nice. All right. Any similarities at all? What's up, X Stage Studios? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Well, cool. I'm glad you stopped by. New videos every Tuesday. Almost at episode 200, so hit like and subscribe, please. I should say that more frequently during the stream. Hit that like and subscribe button. That way the YouTube algorithm likes me better and I get in front of more viewers. And like half of the people who wind up watching these videos are not subscribed. So that's a bummer. And leave a comment too. Tell me how much you love or hate what I'm working on. Tell me if you think I screwed up. Thanks, dude. Or I shouldn't assume that. Thank you, kind person. Cool. All right. I think what I want to try next is using hair as a means to add some kind of fuzzy stuff. Barong has more detail. All right, cool. Good to know. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this landscape. I'm going to call it hair, so I can keep track of it a little bit. Actually, I'm going to scoot it back up just for the time being, just so I can see my selections. I'm going to choose the places where I'm going to add this hair. Little patches here and there. Some in there. Some in here. Cool, that's a start. Always add more. I'm sure we will. Let's add a little back there and maybe a spot here. And one more. Now I'm just going to hit UI to select the inverse and hit delete. I'm going to scoot that hair down just a bit. And I'm going to go to simulate, hair objects, add hair. Boom, and automatically it's way too long. What's up, DFIIC? Well, you can always rewind if you want. I'm going to turn the length way down, maybe to like 5. Now, well, let's see. First, let's get into this hair object, this hair material rather, and modify it to our purposes. So I'm going to make it dark green to kind of a lighter yellowish green. Right, I'm going to turn the specular way down. Turn the thickness up. Let's call it 2 to 1.8. Put a little bit of variation in there. Let's see what we get. You know, that starts giving us this really cool mossy kind of look. It's too thick, so let's go 1.5 to 0.2. Let's turn on clump. Cool. And then I want to turn the length down. And then this is going to affect the render times, but you pop over to physical, these hairs are going to all of a sudden look a lot better. Right? And now what I don't love is they're too dark. I want them to be a little bit more flat and kind of more textural. I go to illumination, keep the diffuse up, with the shadow density I'm just going to turn way down. Receive shadow I'm going to keep pretty high. Self shadow I'm going to turn a lot. I'm going to turn way down. And you're going to see now it should be a little bit more uniform and even. Actually, receive shadow, let's keep that pretty high. Nice. Some of this is looking a little bit too stripy and uniform, so I'm just gonna break some of that up a little bit. Nice. Well, hopefully you pick up some useful tips. Like I said earlier in the stream, you know, this is not necessarily a beginner's tutorial. I don't stop and explain every little thing I'm doing, but I still think there's a lot to be, you know, you can still take a lot from just watching other artists work. Still think that can be very useful. I think this hair material is still a little bit too thick. I think I also want to just lighten the color across the board. elbow cough. Now what I'm going to do is basically the same thing I did the last set of hair, but I'm going to put it in a different position and make it a different color. Awesome. Right, there's our hair. Cool, thanks for tuning in. And then since this other hair material is pretty close to what we want, I'm going to delete the default material they made and make a copy of it, of the old one that we were working on. I'm just going to go in and change the color here. Make this sort of a brownish. I want to make this less dense too, so let's turn it down to like 3500. Pretty cool. Add. I don't know. As this episode goes on and as I'm working on this piece, I'm thinking maybe I don't love that mouth so much. Maybe try something a little different, a little more subtle. Something like that will do the trick a little better. Yeah, I think that suits this character a little better, in my opinion. I'm thinking, maybe I need a tree in here. Need a tree or two. Some with a little more height could help. Just a couple. Sound like Bob Ross. Just a happy little tree. Just a few little trees, however you like it. It's your world. What's up, Seb? I want to add some fog and some atmosphere to our scene here. That's going to make it feel a little more swampy. Going to give us some atmospheric perspective and a little bit of depth, which can be really nice. Now, see, it's affecting the colors, which is fine. I expected it to do that. Let's pump that atmosphere intensity up a little bit. Turn the horizon fade up a little bit. Turn the world scale down. I'm going to turn dithering up to, like, say, 20%. I can see where the fog is. A little bit high, probably. Another way we can check this is we can go to the one of the side views. Go to our quick shading. It's weird that it's not showing the physical sky here. We can do, though. Let's just try this. See where the fog begins and ends there. That's closer. Because we want the fog to really occupy the bottom part of our scene here. And now we're starting to get what we want. Now you can see what I'm going for here. We're going to get sort of a sense of atmosphere. We're going to get things fading, getting a little less contrasty as they go towards the background. So compare this to this. You can really see it's much more of an atmospheric quality. I'm going to try throwing in a little bit of a background sky, like a flat color. See how it looks without the gradient. It's kind of a down and dirty way to do it. But I'm a down and dirty kind of guy, so. Just choose a simple kind of overcast, gray, cloudy kind of day. I actually think I like that. I think it helps bring the attention down this this landscape where we want it a bit more. Here's another thing we could try. Let's go to the camera, go to the top view. Let's add a little bit of depth of field. All right, details. We're gonna have to bring these sliders way in. Now the physical renderer will have depth of field here instead of in this effect drop down. Let's see what we get. It's very subtle. Bring those sliders in a bit more. That's a good question. Thanks for tuning in and asking, Deanne. Um, well, in terms of inspiration, it's about really always just showing up and doing the work. A lot of days I'm not inspired, but I treat this as my profession. And, you know, you were, I don't know, a bus driver or a dentist or, I don't know, pick another profession. And you told your boss you weren't inspired that day. He would say, I don't care about your inspiration. They would say, show up to work, right? So I view it the same way. And since I'm my own boss, I'm the one who has to say, hey, dude, go to work. So that's the way I view it. I appreciate you saying the result is always maximal. I don't necessarily agree with that. Sometimes I'm not as happy with what I make on certain days versus other days. I think some days comes out really well, other days not as good. I think maybe because I treat it like a profession and I show up every day and try my best, that helps things. Maybe my worst days aren't quite as bad as they could be, because I show up every day and try hard. I forget who said it. There's a handful of quotes relating to this sort of idea. I forget exactly who said it. I think it was, I can't remember, but it's something to the effect of, inspiration is for amateurs, professionals just get to work. There's another quote. This one I believe is Oscar Wilde, and it says, "The muse exists, but she had better find you working," which is really just a cool way to say, yeah, inspiration may strike, but if inspiration strikes and you're off screwing around someplace and not doing your work, it's going to be useless, right? So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that kind of thinking. I would say if you want to get good, you want to be inspired, so to speak. Yeah, you got to just keep going for it. You got to get after it. It's not going to land in your lap. Hope that helps. Look, some days, that's the way I typically treat things, right? And I typically work on Saturdays as well. I don't think that's for everybody. A lot of times I'll take off early on a Friday afternoon if I don't have a lot going on. I'll work just a couple hours on Saturday morning. I find mornings are my most productive time, so I like to utilize those really productive bits. So that's my thinking in working Saturdays. But I don't work every single Saturday. Sometimes I'm just burnt out. Maybe I had a lot to do that week. Maybe I'm just not feeling particularly inspired. And it's okay to take a little bit of time off when you're feeling that way as well. There's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes, you need a break. Just like the dentist or the bus driver I referenced, like they should go on vacation a couple of times a year. They should, have a long weekend here or there. They should, any number of things. It's important to be balanced. So while I'd say treat it like a profession, not like a hobby, it's okay to take time off as well. And that really might be the main thing. If you want to be, I mean, art, it's hard. Art is hard. So if you wanna be professional, act professionally. I feel like a lecturing parent. Okay, mom, shut up. Get it. I felt like this left side of the composition needed a little bit of something. It was kind of just dropping off into space here. I wanted to bring it up a little bit. I think pushing some stuff in the background really lets this foggy, hazy effect really take hold and give us some nice depth. Yeah, you're welcome. There's a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield that talks about inspiration and being a professional creative and getting your work done. I would definitely recommend that. What's up, Ramel? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, exactly. Nice one. It's a pretty short read. It's pretty easy. And I remember after getting through it, I was like, oh, wow. It kind of changed the way I approach my work. Go figure. The reason I made a copy of all that is because I wanted, looking at this, got this cool green stuff in a lot of places, but we don't have any up here. I want to incorporate a little bit of that green stuff onto our little main hill here. There we go. I think there's too much there. Too dense. So let's turn this down to like 2000. Because, you know, we copied that other hair, which was applied to all throughout here. That was our count. We had like you know, a number, 5,000. With all of this. And now that we're just in this area, we should keep it a smaller number. See what we get. A little better. I think since I shrunk it down, the hair got too short. Did it? Huh. I'll make it a little taller anyway. All right, I think we're getting close. This is the type of composition with all these details that I could just noodle around with all day. But I usually try to keep these episodes to about the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna push these guys a little further back. A bit more of that atmospheric action going. And assuming that's all good, I'm going to set up the final rendering. So let's go to 1920 by 1080. Turn this up to medium. Occlusion, GI, medium, low. Oh. Boot up Photoshop while that's happening. Thanks. Eye candy indeed. Nice and bubbly. I'm digging it. Well, let's go through all the renderings, all the iterations. Here's how we started. Glad I went away from that mouth. Made the face a little too obvious. Yeah, I think when we started adding the fog and the atmosphere, when it really started coming together. Cool. See that subtle depth of field in there? What do you think I should call this? Think about like bog spirit. Bog spirit. Not sure though. Swamp grandfather. All right. Save it out. All right, so let's do some simple kind of color correction here. What would be fun is to bust out the Wacom tablet and draw some additional details in here. But I don't think we're going to get that deep today. I really like to add some blues to my shadowed areas. Do a little fake bloom effect. Oh, there's the dog. Just adding a little bit of a sharpen here. I'm going to turn that down, which is why I duplicated this layer before I created it. So where did I find my art style? Was it inspiration from other artists or developed by yourself? So a combination of both. I mean, I've been enjoying art since I can remember, either in, books at my parents' house or on TV or in the internet. For a good deal of my life, it's been following artists that I enjoy on the internet. I've been doing that for, gosh, like 20 years, ever since I was on a dial-up modem in my parents' basement looking at, graffiti images online. So I would say it's a long road to get to your artistic voice, and I'm not, completely sure that I'm even satisfied with mine at the moment. It's a lifelong quest, I'd say. So follow what you like. Take what you appreciate from other artists and combine it with what's uniquely yours, and you'll find what you need. And I'd also say, wherever possible, don't just draw inspiration from visual art. Try to draw inspiration from other sources. It could be music, it could be video games, it could be nature. I like an image like this. It's probably clear that I draw a lot of my inspiration from the natural world. So I'd say don't just look to other visual artists. Look outside of that medium and see if you can't find other sources of inspiration. Almost there now. A little bit we can pull out some of the darks just for a little bit of a hazier look. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. And I'm going to ditch that layer. Shut the dog. Not right now. Sorry about that barking. Well, cool. Congrats for making it to the end. Really fun episode. Went, a little over 2 hours this week, I think, but there's a lot of fun details in this piece, so I'm glad we had the time to explore today. If you want to keep up with me and the work that I'm doing, hit me up on DLGNCE on Instagram and Twitter, although Instagram is where I'm most active. New videos every Tuesday, so hit that like and subscribe button, and you'll be blessed with the new video every week. Episode 200 next week, so really excited to roll that one out and hit that milestone. Super exciting stuff. The website is diligence.studio, where you can check out more of my work. And until next week, this is Stuart saying thanks so much. Appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye.